The New Norm is brought to you by Winning at Home. I'm Steve Norman. Welcome to The New Norm. And I'm excited to announce the launch of my new podcast, The New Norm. Newton's first law says an object at rest remains at rest unless acted on by an external force. Left to my own devices, my tendency is to stay put in the same routines, the same rhythms of thinking, the same relational patterns, etc. Now, that's good for stability, but it's not great for growth. At this stage in my life, my temptation is often to say, I am who I am and I am what I am. Take it or leave it. But that feels lazy and cowardly. On my best days, I want to operate from what's called a growth mindset. Carol Dweck says, individuals who believe their talents can be developed through hard work, good strategies, and input from others have a growth mindset. They tend to achieve more than those with a fixed mindset, those who believe that their talents are innate. This is because they worry less about looking smart and put more energy into learning. The summer before I started high school was a case study in building a growth mindset. As the school year wrapped up in the spring, the youth pastors at Calvary Church created a challenge for us called Summer Stretch. It was based on Luke 2:52, which says, "And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature and in favor with God and man." They gave us little booklets where you wrote your goals for each of the following 4 areas for the summer: mental, physical, spiritual, and relational. And the booklet had a grid for every week. There was a column for each day and a row for each growth area. And the goal was to put some activity in every box every day. And the hope was to develop practices that stretched us over the course of the 10 weeks so that by the time school started in September, we'd look more like Christ than we did in June. And we did. The process of being made new requires intentionality and discipline. Getting unstuck demands both risk and work and space. It means creating space for God to show up as that external force to move us from objects that are at rest to ones that are in motion. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, that person is a new creation. The old is gone, the new is here." And for me, a new norm, that was my nickname in high school. For any of you who are Cheers fans, you remember that every time Norm walked into the bar, everybody would say, "Norm." Well, that was like every day for me in high school chemistry. For me, a new norm means having a constantly evolving heart and an ever-surrendered will. The prophet Ezekiel, speaking for God to the people of Israel, says, "I'll give you a new heart and put a new spirit in you. I will remove from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh." A few hundred years ago, a group of pastors wrote a document, and in it they said, when God shows up to transform us, he penetrates into the inmost being of a person. He opens the closed heart and softens the hard heart and circumcises the heart that is uncircumcised. He infuses new qualities into the will, making the dead will alive, the evil one good, the unwilling one willing, and the stubborn one compliant. He activates and strengthens the will so that, like a good tree, it may be enabled to produce the fruits of good deeds. In the upcoming episodes of The New Norm, I'll share what I'm learning about God, myself, the scriptures, and Christ's invitation to trust him in our relationships, our work, and our families. Ernest Hemingway once said, "There's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self." So if you're open to joining me on a quest for your version of the new norm, like and subscribe to this podcast. And you can always feel free to email me at steve@winningathome.com with suggestions for episodes or for prayer requests. I'm Steve Norman, the host of the upcoming podcast, The New Norm. Thanks for listening.